8 different players had receptions last night from passes thrown by Geno Smith. His top 2 tight ends, Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson, each had 43 receiving yards and each had a touchdown. Noah Fant had 3 catches as well. DK Metcalf had 7 receptions on 7 targets for 36 yards. You could see that they're trying to do what you've been saying for years they should do. Get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. Now, they got to work on the play design a little bit. I texted at one point during the game. They threw a bubble screen, and he got swallowed up and lost like 7-8 yards. Because the O's and the X's don't move in real time as fast as they move on the board.
Right.
Because the offensive lineman who was supposed to come over and block the guy, he didn't get there in time.
Yeah, right.
And
on
that
the
blew
board,
the whole thing
he
up.
got there.
And
on
the board, he got there.
It was the perfect block. In reality, he's 320 pounds and runs 5 flat, and he didn't get there, okay? No doubt. No doubt. But
at least we see that effort that had been lacking to get more out. You pay him, you make him a market value contract offer, and he accepts it. You got to take advantage of it. You got to use him more, and they at least tried to do that.
Yeah, they did. Hopefully, that's a thing to continue here as far as their offense. Those are the 2 blue chippers of their football team, are the wide receivers, Lockett and Metcalf. And yeah, let's see if they can continue to find creative ways to get them the football, because like you said, we've questioned that a lot. The last few years there in Seattle. And DK Metcalf has got special talents, and he was up against a really good corner. We know that, and again, it's a film I'll be excited to watch as far as what did Denver do differently in the second half that kind of slowed Seattle down coverage-wise, and certainly had Geno holding the ball a little bit more than we saw in the first half. But if they can run the ball, somewhat effectively. They got 2 guys on the outside that can get open against man-to-man coverage and make life hard. And we saw with Geno too. He doesn't need scheme something up so I can throw it 5 yards over the middle. Geno's got a real arm. He can throw 20-yard out routes with ease. He can throw 25-yard seam routes or touchdowns with ease, and he should be able to take advantage of Metcalf and Lockett's talents that way.
And the defense was impressive. The defense was aggressive.
Made
it
some
was
plays.
Attacking.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier the fumbles at the goal line. Now, in our document, it says that since 1991, no team had lost multiple fumbles on plays from the opponent's 1-yard line. There was a stat that was rattled off last night by Joe Buck during the game that whatever happened last night hadn't happened since 1987 during a Chiefs strike game with replacement players. And it may just be a subtle difference to the factual premise, but this doesn't happen very often where you get the ball on the doorstep and you fumble and lose it twice. And Michael Jackson recovered both of them.
I know.
Now that first one, again, when you blow the center into the backfield, it kind of makes it hard for the running back to do what he's supposed to do, and he runs into the center's ass and he drops the ball. That's an X's and O failure. When you got a guy that does the F up the play and the center is literally in the backfield at the snap, what's the running back supposed to do?
Right. Yeah,
I felt bad. I felt bad for the ball carrier on that one.
Yeah, really, on both of them. I mean, they kind of got overwhelmed up front. Again, not to pile on here, but first off, Melvin Gordon has a fumbling problem. That's kind of noted. Right? And then I just go, man, Pete Carroll, the history there, they're not going to let you run. He's Johnny Defense. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. We're not going to let him run in from the 1-yard line. You could see they were all out on stopping the run. They were bringing it. That's another situation where I came away going, man, I'm surprised they didn't let Russ make a play here, throw a touchdown, have something there. I was a little surprised by that. I was, but I'm not mad at the play call. But in those situations, loud environment, and then, you need 1 yard, and you're playing Pete Carroll, and they're going to kind of sell out on the run, you're going to get off the ball late on the offensive line. And then it's going to lead to guys getting effed up and pushed backwards. So those are huge moments of the football game. Really, I know we texted at one point early in the game, Seattle should have been up by more than 10-3 or 10-10. They had total control. And then we got into the second half, and this is what was great about the game. Denver controlled and should have been up, up by points as well going into the fourth quarter, and they were not. And that just made it for a great watch. But either way, they messed up some situations there that certainly would have made things more comfortable for them in the fourth quarter.
it felt like it was going to be a barn burner,
right?
Based on the first half. 3 points were scored in the second half.
I know, it's amazing.
And it wasn't boring.
No,
That's
it was
what
not.
was so weird about it.
Yeah.
It's still an exciting game because, especially the Broncos, moving the ball up and down the field, but they just could not turn it into points. But, hey, look, all in all, I mean, that's a tough spot for Russell Wilson. I'm sure he would have preferred to have a game or two at home or in some stadium other than the place where he played his home game for 10 years. He wasn't horrible.
No.
I just think that they've got adjustments to make, and that whole play calling thing, you've got to get the plays in earlier. There's a long list of things that Nathaniel Hackett needs to do, but man, stuff we just take for granted, that there's a process in place. Select a play, call a play, communicate the play, get to the line of scrimmage. You never have a chance to really do any meaningful audibles if you're spending the full 40 seconds of the play clock getting your act together.
No, it's a tough situation. Listen, it wasn't an easy place to start. You know, it's a team that, hey, not only was it week one, they had real motivation to stick it to their ex-quarterback. They knew their fans want to stick it to their ex-quarterback. So they were probably willing to do a few little different things. You know, I'll lean on a point Coach Dungy has made a lot over the last week in private and even on TV. You know, hey, you don't play in the preseason? Yeah, these are the things that the preseason helps out. Hey, coach, the quarterback, this is how it goes. Okay, coach is getting them in this time, blah, blah, blah. Hey, coach, after preseason game number 2, I got to get the plays into you, Russell, a little quicker. Some of those things, it's hard to just go, hey, the first time we're ever going to do it together is on the field in Seattle, in the loudest environment in the NFL, and the emotions are going to be about as high as any game we saw across the league, and I think we saw some of that. You know, it was some rough patches, some penalties from the Denver Broncos, all of those type of things of, hey, we didn't play much in the preseason, kind of reared their ugly head there for the Broncos, and that was unfortunate for them.
And now for both teams, an emotional game played on a Monday night, and they got to turn around and play on Sunday. It's I think there's so much anticipation for those week one games. You know, like Steelers Bengals, they go an extra 10 minutes and they got to pick it up and they got to keep going. But when you play Monday night week one and you have a tough, hard-fought game like that goes down to the wire, it's going to be a challenge. The Broncos have the Texans coming to town for their home opener, so nothing against the Texans because they were up big against the Colts until they weren't and came out of that game with a tie. But there's a lot that both teams are going to have to do to reset for the next week, and I think both could be in for a letdown if they're not extremely careful. The Seahawks, I believe, have the 49ers,
right? Who you know are going to be chomping at the bit.
Yeah, that's the easiest wake-up call possible for Pete Carroll and company to not celebrate this one and to move forward.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.